Motivational speech, consistency motivation, force yourself to be consistent, success mindset, daily habits, build discipline, personal development, self-improvement, how to be consistent, success routine, productivity speech, mindset motivation, motivational video for men, mental toughness. Motivation, change your life, powerful speech, wake up motivation, early morning discipline, stay focused, life advice, self-discipline speech, motivational voiceover, no excuses motivation. There comes a time in every person's life when the burden feels too great, when the night seems too long, and the weight on the heart becomes too much to carry. In those hours when your strength feels drained and your spirit wavers, you are not being punished. You are being prepared. You must understand this. Adversity does not break the worthy, it reveals them. The world often celebrates the strong, the victorious, the bold, but it forgets to tell you how those people became who they are. It forgets to mention the sleepless nights, the silent tears, the moments of doubt so deep they could drown a lesser soul. What the world calls strength is not forged in ease. It is born in fire. When you feel weakest, when you are ready to collapse under the pressure of life, that is not a sign to stop. It is a signal to look within. For buried beneath your fatigue, your frustration, and your fear lies a force that has not yet been summoned, a force that waits for you to call it forth. Too many give up just before the miracle. They retreat at the edge of breakthrough, mistaking discomfort for defeat. But the truth is, life often saves its greatest rewards for those who hold on a moment longer than they want to. The pain you feel in those moments is not the end of you. It is the beginning of the next version of you. Strength is not a loud roar. It is not a clenched fist or a raised voice. Real strength is quiet. It whispers in the dark, keep going. It speaks when no one else is around to hear it. It acts when no one else will. Every strong soul you admire once stood where you are now, weary, broken, unsure, but they made one critical decision. You must make it too. They chose not to let weakness win. They chose to stand, even if it meant trembling. They chose to move forward, even if it meant crawling. That decision changed their destiny. Remember this always. The strongest version of you is not created in celebration. It is created in crisis. You are not defined by how high you rise when you're winning, but by how deep you dig when you're losing. When your body says, I can't, your mind must say, just one more. When your soul is tired, remind it what you're fighting for. When you feel abandoned by the world, be the one who stands for yourself, because that's when it counts the most, not when it's easy, not when the crowd is cheering, but when it's dark, when you're alone, when your hands are shaking and your legs are failing. That is where true power is born. This world is not interested in your excuses. It will not lower the mountain for your comfort, but it will reward those who climb anyway. It will give victory to those who fight when they are tired, not just when they are inspired. So when weakness visits you, and it will, welcome it as a teacher. It has come not to destroy you, but to instruct you. It is showing you the parts of yourself that have not yet been called into action. Let it show you what you're made of. Let it draw out the courage you didn't know you had. You were not born to live at half your power. You were not created to retreat in fear. You were designed to rise again and again, each time stronger, wiser, and more resilient. This right here, this moment of exhaustion, this test of will, this is where your greatness begins, not someday, not when things get easier, but now when everything inside you says, I can't, and your spirit answers back, I will. So hold the line. Take the next step. Say the next prayer. Push through the pain, because on the other side of this moment is a version of you that only adversity can awaken, and once awakened, that version never sleeps again. There is a great lie that keeps men small, a falsehood that enslaves the minds of countless souls. It is the belief that what you feel is what is real, but emotions, while powerful, are not facts. They are momentary, fleeting, often misleading. They pass through the mind like clouds across the sun, shifting, changing, temporary, and yet so many build their lives around these illusions, and in doing so they surrender their power. You must understand this truth if you are ever to master yourself. You are not your feelings. You have emotions, but they are not the totality of who you are. They are visitors, not residents. They may influence your thoughts, but they do not own your decisions, unless you let them. Today you may feel afraid. Tomorrow you may feel bold. One moment you're filled with doubt, and the next overflowing with clarity. What changed? The circumstances may be the same, but the emotions, like tides, rose and fell. This alone proves that emotions are not reliable rulers of your life. A person who lives by emotion is a leaf in the wind, tossed, turned, and torn by every passing gust. One insult sends them spiraling. One failure makes them quit. One moment of fatigue becomes a reason to abandon their calling. But the person who has learned to govern their emotions, they are the captain of their soul. You must treat your emotions like children. Acknowledge them, listen to them, but do not let them drive the car. They may cry out in fear or anger or sadness, but you remain at the wheel. You decide the direction. You decide the pace. You decide whether to stop or move forward. Emotions can be helpful servants. They warn you, they signal when something's wrong, but they were never meant to lead. Logic, reason, purpose, these are your compass. Emotion may color the world, but it must never write your map. There will be days when you feel like quitting. Do not. There will be mornings when you feel unworthy. Push forward anyway. There will be nights when you feel defeated. Remind yourself, this is not truth, this is a storm, and storms always pass. You are not bound to act on every feeling. You are free to pause, reflect, and respond with strength. This is what separates the weak from the strong. The weak react, the strong respond. One is impulsive, the other intentional. Consider this. Have you ever made a decision in anger that you later regretted? Have you ever walked away from something great because of a moment of fear? That alone proves that emotions can deceive. They shout loud in the moment, then vanish when the damage is done. So be wise. Let your vision guide you, not your mood. Let no man be ruled by his worst day. You are not defined by your emotional low points. In fact, those moments reveal your need to rise above the fog and reclaim your clarity. When fear comes, speak back to it. When doubt whispers, answer it with truth. When despair creeps in, stand firm and declare, this feeling is not the end, it is a test. And like all tests, it can be passed if you remain calm, if you stay focused, if you remember who you are. You were born with the power to choose, not just what you do, but how you think and how you feel. No emotion can overtake the mind that is trained to observe it, question it, and rise above it. That is where true power lies, in choosing how you feel, not simply being what you feel. Emotions are waves. You are the ocean. Let them rise, let them fall, but you remain vast, steady, unshaken. So the next time you feel lost, broken, afraid, pause, breathe, and ask, is this feeling fact, or is it just a shadow passing through? Most of the time, you'll find it's the latter. And in that moment of awareness, you reclaim your strength. Do not build your life on shifting sands. Build it on truth. Build it on principles. Build it on the unwavering belief that you are greater than your emotions, and you were born to lead them, not be led by them. Strength is not something granted at birth. It is not handed down from the heavens, nor inherited through blood. Strength is not a gift. It is a choice, and like all choices, it is made one decision at a time. You must come to this realization if you intend to live a life of power. No one becomes strong by accident. No man wakes up courageous without first facing fear. No woman rises in confidence without first walking through uncertainty. Strength is not found, it is forged. It is shaped in the furnace of hardship, and it is chosen at the crossroads of comfort and challenge. Each day presents a choice. You can give in or you can go on. You can complain or you can conquer. The strong are those who choose discipline over ease, action over hesitation, and purpose over distraction. Not once, but repeatedly. You do not need favorable circumstances to become strong. You do not need motivation or support from the crowd. What you need is a decision, a quiet, unwavering decision that says, no matter what, I will not quit. I will not bend. I will not be ruled by weakness. Weakness whispers, it's too hard. Strength replies, do it anyway. Weakness waits to feel ready. Strength begins when it doesn't feel ready at all. Weakness looks for escape. Strength looks for a way forward, and here's the truth most people won't tell you. Strength does not feel good at first. It is uncomfortable, it demands effort. It requires that you act when your body is tired, when your emotions scream for relief, when your mind invents 1,000 reasons to stop. That is the price of strength. And those willing to pay it become it. Consider the greatest builders of history, not just of buildings and empires, but of character and destiny. They were not gifted with an easier path. Most faced greater trials than you can imagine. What set them apart was not luck. It was a decision to show up when no one else would, to fight when it would have been easier to flee, to keep building when all they had left were broken pieces. They made the choice that most avoid, to grow stronger, not bitter, to grow braver, not smaller. You too will face moments that will ask everything of you, moments where quitting would be easy, where silence would feel safer than speaking your truth, where retreat would seem wiser than risk. In those moments, strength will not come to you as a surge of emotion. It will come as a decision, quiet, firm, and final. I will persist. I will continue. I will rise. And understand this: each time you make that decision, even in the smallest of moments, you are building muscle. Not just of the body, but of the spirit. Strength accumulates. It compounds. One hard choice followed by another and another, until one day you stand as someone you barely recognize, unshakable, focused, powerful. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. So many wait for the right moment to feel strong before they act, but that's not how it works. You act, and then you become strong. Strength does not precede action, it follows it. Courage shows up in the doing, not in the waiting. You must stop searching for strength outside of yourself. Stop waiting for someone to push you, to rescue you, to make it easier. The power is already within you, but it must be activated through choice. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not a prisoner of your emotions. You are the maker of your strength, the architect of your destiny. And if you fall, as all strong people do, you get up and you choose again. And again, until choosing strength becomes your nature, not your struggle. That is how the weak become strong. That is how the fearful become fearless. That is how ordinary souls become extraordinary. It begins with a decision. Make it now, make it daily, and never stop choosing who you are becoming. There is a hidden truth that many never come to realize in their lifetime. A truth so powerful that once understood, it can change the course of a person's destiny. It is this: everything you need to succeed, to rise, to overcome, already exists within you. You were not born empty, you were born equipped, with imagination, with will, with the capacity to choose your path regardless of where you begin. The difference between those who lead and those who follow is not that some were granted power and others were denied. It's that some awakened their power while others left it dormant. Too many walk through life searching outside themselves. They seek strength in the opinions of others, validation in the crowd, and confidence in their circumstances. But the truth is, no amount of praise, no position, no possession will ever replace the unshakable force of a soul that knows its own worth. Your power is not in the hands of others. It is not dependent on the weather of the world. It is within you, waiting to be summoned. It sleeps behind your doubts. It rests beneath your fears. And when called upon with faith and decision, it will rise to meet any challenge you face. You must stop looking for permission. The world will rarely give it. It will tell you to wait, to be realistic, to stay safe. But if you listen too long, you'll forget that greatness doesn't ask for permission, it claims it. No one is coming to unlock the strength inside you. No mentor, no hero, no savior will do what only you can do. And that is the great secret. The key was never lost. It was always in your hand. Do you think the giants of industry, the leaders of change, the builders of empires were born knowing how to achieve? No. They were often filled with the same doubts, the same fears. But what they had, what you must develop, is the willingness to turn inward and say, I will not wait to feel ready. I am ready because I decide I am. There is a voice inside you, quiet but constant. It tells you that you were made for more. It urges you to rise, to build, to stretch beyond what is comfortable. That voice is your inner power, but like any muscle, it weakens when unused. You must exercise it. You must feed it with bold decisions and persistent action. You do not need perfect conditions to begin. You need only one thing, a burning belief that what lives inside you is greater than any obstacle outside you. Look around at the world. Most settle for less than they desire, not because they lack ability, but because they've forgotten how to believe. They've been conditioned to think small, to play it safe, to wait for approval. But those who achieve, those who rise are the ones who remember. They already have what they need. They don't beg for strength, they command it. They don't wait for courage, they cultivate it, and so must you. Every time you act in faith, you fan the flames of your inner power. Every time you defy fear, you strengthen your foundation. Every time you get back up after failure, you awaken a deeper part of yourself. Yes, you will fall. Yes, you will doubt. Yes, you will be tested, but none of that changes what is true. You are still powerful. You are still capable. You are still in control of your next move. Do not say you are powerless. You speak falsehood when you say such things. You choose powerlessness when you ignore the strength that was placed inside you from the beginning. Decide now to stop underestimating yourself. Decide now to stop searching for what you already possess. Dig deep, go inward, stir up the fire that is waiting to be reignited, because once you begin to operate from that place, where belief overrides fear, where action silences doubt, then you are no longer merely surviving. You are becoming the person you were always meant to be, and the world cannot stop a person who has remembered where their power truly lies. Life does not hand out strength freely. It demands that you earn it. And the currency it accepts is hardship, difficulty, resistance, trial. You will not become who you were meant to be until you face adversity that dares you to give up. Because every trial is not just an obstacle, it is a test. A test of your will. You cannot grow stronger by living softly. You do not develop courage in the absence of fear. You do not build endurance by walking an easy path. Strength of will is not formed in comfort. It is forged in fire. And that fire will come for every man and woman who aspires to rise. The question is not whether trials will come. They will. Life will bring storms. It will bring betrayal, failure, rejection, and moments that break your plans in half. That is the nature of this world, but it is in those moments, when the light seems farthest away, that your will is tested. That is when life demands an answer. Will you continue or will you quit? Most people never reach their true potential, not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they retreat when tested. They give up when resistance appears. They mistake pressure for punishment, when in fact it is preparation. You must not be one of them. You must train your mind to see trials differently. Do not curse them. Do not run from them. Welcome them like the warrior welcomes the battlefield, knowing this is where you earn the right to lead, to grow, to become more. When you are tested, when plans fall apart, when people turn against you, when the mountain seems too high and the night too long, remember this: you have a choice, not about what happens, but about how you respond. You can react with fear, or you can respond with faith. You can shrink or you can rise. You can let it break you or you can let it build you. That choice and that choice alone determines your destiny. Trials are life's way of asking you, how badly do you want it? Will you still show up when the applause stops? Will you keep going when no one believes in you? Will you keep pushing when the reward is nowhere in sight? Those who possess strong willpower do not wait to feel ready. They decide they are ready because they must be. They don't depend on their environment to be perfect. They make a decision to press on regardless. You see, the will is not an emotional force, it is a spiritual one. It is the decision to stand when others sit, to try again when failure mocks you, to believe when everything around you screams doubt. You were not put here to surrender, you were put here to be tested, and to prove to yourself that nothing outside of you is stronger than what's within you. Think of the greatest men and women the world has known. Every one of them was tested. They were beaten, rejected, laughed at, abandoned, but their will refused to break. They faced darkness and decided to bring their own light. That is greatness, not perfection, but persistence. Let this be your mindset. Every time you are tested, say to yourself, this is where I get stronger. Every challenge is not a wall. It is a mirror showing you who you are and what you must become. If you fail, so be it. But fail forward, learn, adapt, strengthen your will. You are not here for ease. You are here to evolve, and evolution does not come gently. It comes through trial, through heat, through hammer and pressure. So, the next time life presses against you, don't ask for relief, ask for resolve. Don't ask for the trial to end, ask for the strength to outlast it. Because once you do, once you pass that test, you will emerge with something far greater than comfort. You will emerge with power, with certainty, with a will that cannot be bent or broken, and that is what this life is really about, not avoiding trials, but triumphing through them. There comes a time in every life when the burden feels too heavy to carry alone. When the nights are long, the path unclear, and you begin to question whether you're the only one walking through the storm, in such moments the enemy whispers you're alone, no one sees, no one understands, but that is a lie. A deception meant to isolate you, weaken you, and rob you of the truth. You are not alone, you never were. Every person who has ever risen to greatness has walked through pain. Every soul that has conquered doubt, fear, and failure has first endured seasons of silence, confusion, and exhaustion. The difference is, they did not let the illusion of isolation break them. They remembered what you must remember now. The battle may be yours to fight, but you are not the only one fighting it. There are others, past and present, who know your pain, who have stood at the edge of despair, who have been tempted to quit, and yet chose to rise. They may not stand beside you physically, but their stories, their spirits, and their strength surround you like unseen pillars holding up the walls of perseverance. Understand this. When you feel weak, it is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something important is happening, because weakness often appears before a breakthrough. Doubt often surrounds the doorstep of destiny. And just because you feel alone does not mean you are. Look deeper. There are people who believe in you, even if they've never said it aloud. There are silent supporters watching your effort, drawing inspiration from your courage. There are others who fight battles like yours each day, quietly, faithfully, determined to win their own war, and in their quiet they walk beside you. You were not designed to conquer everything by yourself. Yes, your strength must come from within. Yes, your will must be firm and your discipline sharp, but even the strongest warrior needs encouragement. Even the fiercest mind needs a reminder that the struggle is shared. You are part of something larger than you know. The dream you chase is not just for you. It is a torch passed down by all who came before, and it will light the way for all who follow. You carry not only your hopes, but the hopes of those who were never given the chance. Every step you take forward is a step taken for the countless who never dared, never tried, or never got up after the fall. And here is the powerful truth. when you press on despite pain, when you choose courage over comfort, when you get back up for the 100th time, you give permission to others to do the same. You become a quiet leader, a living example of what is possible. You remind others that strength is not perfection, it is persistence. So when you feel alone, do not retreat inward, reach outward, speak your struggle, seek out those who lift, not those who drain. Surround yourself with those whose fire ignites your own. And if such people are not near, become that fire yourself, so bright that others find you in their own darkness. Remember, solitude and isolation are not the same. Solitude is a tool, it clears the mind, builds self-reliance. But isolation is a trap. It makes you forget that connection is part of your power. The truth is, even the most self-made man was shaped by the hands of others, through mentorship, through challenge, through the invisible thread of human spirit that connects us all. You are not the only one striving. You are not the only one aching to overcome. And every time you rise again, you do not rise alone. You rise with every soul who ever refused to quit. You rise with the force of all those who chose to keep going, not because they felt strong, but because they knew the world needs what they carry. So hold fast to this truth. You are not alone in the battle. You were never meant to be, and the very moment you remember that, the burden becomes lighter, the path becomes clearer, and your power returns, because you realize the fight is not just yours, it is ours. And together, we do not fall, we rise.